You're listening to the Level Flight Podcast on the Hockey Podcast Network.
And welcome back to the Level Flight Podcast. We are here for the Patrick Laine episode, as I called it, episode 29. I'm joined by Brian today. No Elliot, but Brian, how are you doing?
Doing all right. Starting to settle into, playoff hockey, but it's baseball season now.
It's baseball season. The weather's taking a turn. It's nice outside. It's definitely baseball weather, that's for sure.
Oh, yeah.
But to get back to the on-ice stuff, the Moose had their season end the same way that last year did, to the same opponent in the same game by the same score. It was a heartbreaker in Game 5. How did you see that one play out? They ended up losing 2-1. It was a very tight checking game and came down to an unfortunate mistake, we'll put it, with 30 seconds left.
Yeah. It was tough. You're looking at a team that just couldn't seem to bury the chances in regulation. They got those, couple overtime winners in a row, but ultimately you have to score in regulation more than your opponent if you're going to have any chance. So, no, I find that the similarities of when some of the scorers dry up, the rest of the team just goes silent, between the Moose and the Jets. The unfortunate nature of it is they just didn't seem like, the team that won as many games as they did this year. It was a bit of a fight down the stretch to actually, keep up with Milwaukee. But I wonder part of it if it was a bit of a mental game too, knowing that they were in this exact same scenario. And a lot of
Yeah.
these guys were, on the team last year, and maybe some doubt creeps into the mind. I don't know, but it's unfortunate because on paper, that team was significantly better than the one last year. Have some veteran influence, some guys that, had really been scoring really well. Like, I know there were some injuries and some guys that ended up, departing the team, but yeah, it's unfortunate, but yeah, what can you do?
Yeah. And it even more unfortunate is the fact that Ville Heinola was ruled out after taking warm-up. He just wasn't playing. And he was hurt. I didn't see anywhere what it was. I'm assuming it was some kind of like illness or obviously an injury that he couldn't play through. But that is such a big hit to your lineup, and not even knowing that it's going to happen until game time. Like that's tough to overcome. You're probably your best defenseman or one of. Um, and then again, yeah, they tie it. Jansen Harkins ties it late on a huge goal. Daniel Fink goes crazy. They have momentum. Looks like we're headed to overtime. And then there's a collision at center ice between two Moose players, 2-on-1 the other way. Milwaukee wins it 2-1. It's just a tough way for a season to end. Like all the hard work that these players go through and stuff just all comes down to the last 30 seconds of Game 5. It's obviously one team has to lose. But that's just the rough parts of sports right there.
Yeah. I think ultimately too, as unfortunate as it is, the playoff, the short playoff run here, full of mistakes.
Yeah.
They're within a goal in game 4, and
Yeah.
they put the puck into their own net, with the empty net.
Yeah, that was bad.
Like, obviously it's a fluke play, but it's stuff like that. Like, it's like, and then the collision in game 5, like, it's these little
Yeah.
things that totally impact the direction of a game. That, I mean, those two games, like, maybe if they don't put the puck in their own net in game 4, they find a way to tie it like they did in game 2, and, come back and win their, third consecutive overtime.
Well, that game ended 5-3 with an empty netter. So it was like 4-3 down the stretch. So if they don't put the puck into their own net, theoretically, obviously
Yeah.
the game is different. The flow of the game is different, whatever. But it's a tie game, right?
Yeah. So, it's tough, but
Yeah.
I mean, they should be a very young team next year, but a very talented one at that. Um,
Yes.
that's the thing. It's hard to speculate sort of like what things are going to look like, because we also don't know what the which before I get it, we will get into a bigger off-season preview at some point.
Yeah.
in the next few weeks. But we don't know who the AHL bodies could be coming in next year. So complexion of the team could look very different or similar depending on what comes in. But I'm hoping that we see a lot of Danny Shilkin.
Yeah.
Hoping that we see, I mean, depending on how it goes, we could see, a couple of the other guys that maybe even started, guys like a Chaz Lucius or
Yeah.
or Brad Lambert. I'm not sure how that works because they started here and then went to the dub. Are they
Oh,
eligible to
yeah.
play in the AHL, or now are they locked into playing in the dub until they're ineligible?
That's a great question. I honestly have no
Because, like, I
clue.
know if you're drafted into the CHL, and you play there, you can't make the jump to pro unless you're playing in the NHL.
Mm, okay. Yeah, I'm not sure the specifics on that, but who knows? They might, like you said, they might start in the AHL if if they're eligible.
Yeah,
And then you've got Zhilkin, you've got Kuzmin, you might see Elias Salmonson, right defenseman, second round pick,
Chibrikov.
come over. Chibrikov. Yeah, they're going to be a young team next year. If again, AHL teams are hard to predict. You said that,
Yeah.
but it's it's shaping out to be that way, right? And one player that they lost to Germany was Leon Gawanke. He set the single season record for goals by a Moose defenseman with 20, something over 20.
I think it was 20.
Yeah. But again, incredibly talented offensive defenseman, great shot from the point. He loves to shoot the puck on the power play, even strength. Doesn't matter. He's shooting the puck every time it's on his stick. And one of their biggest pushers of offense from the back end. Like you've got Chisholm, Hanela, and Gavanka. Those are three defensemen that can really push the play. And it looks as though, well, Gavanka is definitely gone. Hanela, you're not sure. Chisholm needs to clear waivers if he's going to be on the Moose next year, out of training camp. So any team could scoop him up. So we'll see. We'll see where that goes. But what were your initial thoughts when you heard the news of Leon Gavanka signing a 4-year contract over in Germany?
To be honest with you, like in terms of the actual like Jets impact, it doesn't necessarily shock me. I love the wow factor of his offense. But before we were recording, you had talked about how, you watch the most of him because, you're there. Defensively, he's just a little bit out there.
Yeah,
Um,
still needs a little bit of work. Yeah,
yeah, so it's unfortunate that you lose an asset, right? But he's getting a little bit older. Starting this last season, he wasn't waivers ineligible, so he would have had to clear. Um, but you're also, you know, it's the depth chart thing. It's the log jam that we've talked about so much, and ultimately, it would take several moves for him to even be brought up.
yeah.
Um, and I know obviously it's an asset management thing, but honestly, the thing that surprised me most is that his default was to go home to Germany because I figured a player of his caliber could find something in North America.
Oh yeah,
Um, but I guess ultimately he was still, part of this organization. So in order to actually play, he rather than having to ask for a trade and stuff like that, uh, or was his contract up after this year, or was it next?
I believe it was up after this year.
Yeah,
So I don't know, but
it's
again, like
just
you said, like
kind of
I
weird to
feel
me.
like he could leverage the fact that he scored 20 goals in a AHL regular season into a North America bottom pair somewhere, or
Yeah,
even like a seventh defenseman, like a Logan Stanley, Kyle Capobianco type role somewhere else. Even if it's with the Jets, I don't know. But yeah,
yeah,
you talked about the logjam. Probably wasn't getting up with the Jets. Like even if he was, probably wasn't getting up until Pionk's contract is up. And even then, like the Jets will probably re-sign Pionk way down the line. And then
yeah,
like Schmidt, maybe you need to wait another year. Um, and he you might have lost him for free in waivers anyways. So it's a tough asset management thing to lose, like you said, but good for him. I mean, he's going back home. He had a great run with the Moose, and he's going to spend his prime years playing at home. So that's something.
yeah. I've heard that that building because I think it was Adler Mannheim that he signed
Yeah.
with. That building is apparently electric. Um,
Really?
yeah, I've heard really good things about the
Hmm.
DEL, so the German league. Um, that I would love to go check out a German league game. Like
If
it
you
looks like
find
a
yourself in
blast.
Germany, if you just like happen to
Go
be
watch
there,
Leon Gawanke.
if you happen to be in Germany, yeah, definitely go watch Leon Gawanke at a quote electric crowd, according to Brian. There you go. But besides the Gavanka news, I don't really think anything has happened in the last 2 weeks. Have
No,
you
we
like?
got all of our ranting out last week
Yeah, right.
with
With the
the
pressers.
Chevy presser, but no, Jets news, the well has dried, at least for
Yes,
now.
everyone has shifted into the off season. The Moose season ended a few days ago now. Saturday, we're recording this Thursday, so it's been a few days. End of
Yeah.
season media availabilities for the Moose has happened. Um, we're officially in the off season now.
Yeah.
There's no more hockey to talk about, except for not affiliated with the Jets organization, but the Winnipeg Ice
Yeah.
are going to be playing at Canada Life Center in the finals against the Seattle Thunderbirds. We talked about this scenario a few weeks last episode, I believe. Yeah, where uh,
Honestly, everything has blended together. I have no idea what episode we talked about what anymore.
yeah, neither do I. But Brad Lambert is here, Jets
Yep.
first round pick. And in that series between the Ice and Thunderbirds, there are a lot of NHL prospects. Someone posted like a graphic, and there's just like I think there's like 15 NHL prospects or like somewhere near that number, which is
Yeah.
nuts for a WHL finals. But it's at Canada Life Center. Tickets are available because that's a pretty big building compared to what the Ice have been playing in. And it's going to be some really good hockey. So,
Yeah.
what are your initial thoughts about the Lambert versus Winnipeg Ice thing at Canada Life?
I think it gives people an opportunity to continue to support, you know, the local hockey scene,
Yeah,
even though the Jets and Moose are gone. But it also gives you the chance to actually, just watch Brad Lambert do his thing because it is a sight. He's still tearing it up right now. But yeah, as you said, it's going to be quite something with the expanded, venue now. So
yeah,
I'm assuming, at least for now, I would assume they're just running the lower bowl at Canada
yeah. They
Life.
are. Yeah,
So there's still significantly more tickets than Wayne Fleming Arena.
yeah.
But yeah, that'd be fun. So by the time this comes out, that'll be tonight.
Mhm.
Um, we we're hoping for an ice win, but with a few Lambert points.
Exactly. And Lambert has been putting up points. I'm pretty sure he's at 20 in the 10 games that he's played or something around that.
Yeah,
Um, but he's been amazing so far. And the Ice have been a wagon. Like they just don't lose games. So this is gonna be so much fun to watch. I can't wait. I believe after games 1 and 2 as well, I'm pretty sure they're gonna be on TSN. Like games 3, or it was like games three
yeah.
and four and then like 7 or
I
something.
I
So
I think that's right. Yeah,
yeah, I thought I read that somewhere. But anyways, besides that is all the hockey in Winnipeg to talk about. The Jets and Moose are done, the Ice in the finals. But there is still hockey going on. We talked about the NHL playoffs last week. Um, there's been a lot of
I was
blowouts.
gonna say, you want to get into this?
Yeah, like a concerning amount of blowouts. I read on Twitter the other night that 7 of the last 8 games before last night was Oilers beat the Golden Knights 4-1 and the Leafs won 2-1 against the Panthers.
Yeah,
Before that night, 7 of the last 8 games had been 5-1 at any point. The score had been 5-1 at some point in 7 of the last 8 games. That's nuts.
yeah,
Like it's just I've watched more NBA basketball playoffs in like the last week than I have ever in my life because the game is 5-1 and I tune out because I'm not watching the rest of this and the NBA game is close, so why not, right?
yeah,
Like I'm just not when the Jets aren't playing, I'm just not drawn to a 5-1 game. Obviously the Jets proved in game 3 that they can like comebacks are crazy, but what are your thoughts on like the amount of blowouts because this is becoming like unwatchable at this point?
yeah. Like I remember when the whole conversation was that things tighten up in the playoffs, and
Yeah.
that used to be the case. Was the
Yeah.
case in the first round.
Yep.
Uh,
First round was great. Close games, overtimes, double overtimes.
yeah.
Series went long. Well, these series, the funny thing is, like, it's not even like anyone is. Well, I guess Florida was close to a sweep last night, but it's not like anyone is like dominating their series. Edmonton and Vegas is 2-2. Dallas and Kraken is two
I mean,
two. Yet,
Carolina, I would say, is dominating.
yeah, true. But like those two series, the Dallas series especially, the Kraken and Stars are just trading blowouts.
Yeah.
It makes no sense.
Yeah. It's unfortunate because, like, the whole point of, playoff intensity is the close games and
Yeah,
the suspense is ratcheting up.
yeah,
When one team's down 4-5-1 at the end of the second period, you don't care about the third. You only start paying attention if whoever's down scores 2 or 3 goals.
yeah.
That's the thing. Like,
Honestly,
I had the joy of writing about the Kraken's 6-3 loss. Um,
that game was 5-1 at some point,
it was,
right?
yes, it was.
Yeah, there you go.
Um, and to be honest with you, like, it went 5-1, and I just zoned out, and I was trying to write about it. Also, not a lot to write about, in a game where it's essentially nothing's happening, Dallas scores. Nothing's
Yeah,
happening, Dallas scores. Like, it's yeah, it was tough, but it's the theme. Like, last night's
yeah,
2-1 Leafs victory was refreshing purely because it was a close game that you're like, "Oh, this is a very big moment." Like, you're just not
yeah,
getting that anymore, and, like, honestly, the one that's probably the worst for it is the Carolina Jersey series.
yeah,
Was
yeah.
it back-to-back 5-1 wins for Carolina in the first 2 or
I
something
think it was
like
like
that?
5-1 and then 6-1. Like they just killed them in the first
And
two
then
games.
game
Yeah,
3, uh, was, like, what, 8 something for
yeah, yeah.
Jersey.
Good, yeah,
Um, and then another really bad one again in game 4. So, like, what are we doing here? Like, I know that the goalies aren't great anymore.
I
Like,
was
you've
just about
got
to say, yeah,
like we're not looking at too many like, I mean, there's Jake Ottinger, I would say is the clear cut, best
yeah,
remaining goalie.
mhm.
But even he's looked shaky.
Yeah. I was saying earlier, the Kraken Dallas series is just blowout after blowout, and it's like,
Like,
what are we
when
doing here?
everyone's performing at the same level of, like, below league average, this is what's going to happen because there's no, like, intensity of, someone making a big save when it's likely gonna go in.
Yeah. No, yeah, like, all of these goalies, like, Akira Schmid and Vitek Vanacek are both, like, 1B goalies in my mind. Like, they're not starting goalies in the playoffs, or
No.
shouldn't be at least, and they're playing like it right now, and that's why the Devils, like, they have one game where their offense just carries them, and their goaltending doesn't matter,
That's
and
the
then every
thing,
other game, it's like the goaltending fails them, or they get blown out, and their goalie's not there to bail them out. It's like, I don't know.
like, Vanacek in game 3 was not good, but it didn't matter because they scored 8 goals.
Yeah.
So, when he starts game 4 and looks awful and the Devils aren't scoring, suddenly like, "Oh, what happened?"
Yeah.
Like, well, it was he's playing the same.
Yeah.
Uh, yeah, I don't know, like,
And
when
a
when the
lot of these
best
goalies
goalies
too, go ahead, sorry.
and when the best goalies right now are Ottinger, obviously, but you're looking at a tandem of Freddie Anderson and Antti Ranta,
Yeah.
Sergei
Yeah.
Bobrovsky and Joseph Wall in
Yeah.
which I
And
gotta say, shout out to
played good.
Joseph Wall.
Yeah. Played
Dude's
good.
coming in, playing his first ever playoff start, you
Yeah.
know, solid effort and, got them the win. No
Yeah.
one really knows how long Samsonov's gonna be out.
But
Um,
then again, like, Wall played good last night. Are you gonna hand the keys back to an injured Samsonov?
yeah,
Not really. Like,
and
I
you're
don't know.
also not gonna hand the keys over to,
Matt Murray.
proven playoff performer Matt Murray after he's
He knows.
probably he'll look at the ice and then get hurt again.
Yeah, he knows how to win though. So
Yeah.
it should be easy for him, right? Because he just knows. So like, why isn't he playing? Because he knows how to win. Anyways, a
We're
lot of
getting
these
we're getting
goalies,
off topic.
I know a lot of these goalies that played well in the first round, like Philip Grubauer, just kind of are falling apart. Like that's the inconsistency of goaltending, right?
Yeah,
Unless you have a Shesterkin, Vasilevsky, Hellbuck, who all lost in the first round. Um,
Sorokin.
Sorokin. But these goalies that are like starters in the regular season, maybe, but like kind of more on an elite team, like a great backup kind of thing. They could be good for a round. They could get you like through a round if your offense picks it up. But then, like when the competition gets better, you might start losing some games because of goaltending. And I think that's happening across like Stuart Skinner. He's a rookie. He's a great goalie, but he's having some up and down games in this
Yep.
Vegas series, right? Like and then Vegas's goaltending, who even knows at this point?
Like,
Like
is it
Brossoit
at
was
this
up and
point? Is
down.
it just
Aiden
Aiden
Hill.
Hill?
Yeah. And Quick is the backup who also knows how to win. So why isn't he playing? Anyways.
So I have a question.
Yeah.
If this is the case, and we're looking at the goalies left, I'm going to exclude Ottinger because we know that he has the ability to steal a playoff series. I can't confidently say that the rest of them do.
No.
In terms of who's left, which team has the ability to compensate well enough for league average goaltending in order to actually ride it to like, just to a little bit of an example, that like there's been like teams with like Antti Niemi won a cup as the
Yeah.
goalie. Martin Jones had like a couple good seasons and brought
Yeah.
that Sharks team to the cup final. Like, there's certain teams that can kind of compensate for that league average goaltending and use what they can in net and then try and figure out a way to make it easier and then outscore. Who's got that? Let's face it, with coffee starting at $5 and our bank accounts somehow always depleting, we are entering a dupe session. Most products do the same thing but are priced differently solely based on the brand name. So, a good duplicate, or dupe, is crucial for getting the highest quality at the best price. One dupe you definitely shouldn't sleep on: Raycon wireless earbuds. Raycon is premium audio at the perfect price point, so you can listen to what you want, when you want, without breaking the bank. Maybe you're on a budget and are looking for quality audio without having to sacrifice some well-earned money. Well, look no further than Raycon. Raycon's mission is to prove that you shouldn't have to pay an arm and a leg for quality sound and essential smart tech listening features. You can get a pair and a spare and still pay less than what you would with some of those other big-name tech brands out there. Raycon knows that in this economy, every purchase needs to be perfect. They offer buy now, pay later options. Right now, you can pay as low as $18 at checkout. They have an easy and free return guarantee. They offer 2 years of product protection insurance for just a few bucks. They offer free domestic shipping and flat fee international shipping. And they have over 50,000 5-star reviews. One of the best features of Raycons are how they have custom gel tips for the perfect, most comfortable in-ear fit, which is perfect for the 8 hours of playtime you can get from the everyday earbuds. And if you wear them for 8 hours, they have to be comfortable. Go to buyraycon.com/THPN today to get 15% off your Raycon order. That's buyraycon.com/THPN to score 15% off. buyraycon.com/THPN. Light the lamp during the hockey playoffs with DraftKings Sportsbook. Right now, new customers can make a $5 bet and score $150 in bonus bets instantly. Download the DraftKings Sportsbook app now and sign up with code THPN. New customers can make a $5 hockey playoff bet and score $150 in bonus bets instantly. That's code THPN, only at DraftKings Sportsbook. Do you have a gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. In Massachusetts, call 800-327-5050 or visit gamblinghelplinema.org. In New York, call 877-8-HOPE-NY or text HOPE-NY 467-369. In Kansas, call 1-800-522-4700 on behalf of Boot Hill Casino and Resort. 21 plus in most eligible states, but age varies by jurisdiction. Eligibility restrictions apply. See show notes for other details. See DraftKings.com/sportsbook for details and state-specific responsible gambling resources.
I think Edmonton, just because of their power play. Like their power play is, I think, at like 50% in the playoffs or like above 50%, something ridiculous.
Yeah.
So if there's any way to overcome bad goaltending, it's just going 3 for 4 on the power play. Like it just in the East though, I think Carolina, just because like they're such a good shutdown team and they throw so many pucks at the net that I feel like defensively they can hold anyone to one goal, and they throw like 45 shots at the net because they're just a Corsi juggernaut. And two of those are bound to go in just by percentages and luck, right? So I think if there's a team actually suited for it that's not like just outscoring their problems, which is Edmonton, I think it's Carolina because their defense, like in the regular season, I think you talked about it. They're like first in every defensive
Yeah.
metric, and they're just shut down. And Auntie Raja is not bad. Like
I know Freddie
Frederick,
Anderson's been great as well since
yeah,
he's come in.
yeah. Like
But I mean,
I don't
I
know,
actually have Carolina, I think now as my cup favorite
Mm,
because of that.
okay, yeah,
Like they're still scoring. Like I think that the thing too is they throw the puck at them, as you said, a lot. With a bunch of goalies that are kind of unsure right now, suddenly that becomes a viable strategy for the pucks to actually go in.
yeah. Assuming they play Florida, like I just don't see like they have the firepower to outscore their problems and shut down Florida's attack. Like
Yeah.
I agree with you. I think Carolina's the favorite to come out of the East. And then the only thing I can see is like personally, I've been high on Edmonton this whole time. I just think this is the best chance McDavid has had to win a cup just on paper. And I think with Vegas's uncertainty in net, like Aiden Hill didn't have the greatest game last night. He gave up 3 goals in the first period. Um, like a couple of the goals, like can't really ask him to save those, but I just think Edmonton is loaded and they finally have depth in the McDavid era. And Leon Draisaitl is going to break every record for goals if they keep playing here. So I think I wouldn't mind a little rematch of what was that 2006 with the
Yeah,
Oilers and Canes.
that'd be something.
That would be fun to
Especially because
watch.
the Canes are wearing that jersey.
Exactly. Yeah. And the Oilers are back to their, I guess they're not wearing that jersey, but they're back to their blue. You
Yeah.
know, they got rid of the gross orange or that navy or whatever that jersey was that they wore. That you know what? That's the analysis I'm gonna bring. The Oilers are going to the cup final because they changed away from that terrible navy jersey. Nothing to
Oh,
do with the ice. They changed their jerseys and finally they're gonna be rewarded for it. That's my take.
there we go. That's the
That's
hard-hitting
why.
analysis you listen to the
And
Level Flight podcast for.
exactly. And the Canes, actually. I'm going to do this on the flip side. The Canes black and red jerseys, not it. And they finally changed to those red ones, like you said, the anniversary jerseys. And those
Yeah.
ones are very nice. So there you go. These teams are going to be rewarded for changing their jerseys. There you go.
Honestly, like the remainder of the teams, decent, jersey matchups.
Yeah. The
Like,
Kraken. The Kraken jerseys are just like the Kraken have the best jersey in like I don't know. I'd say like probably a top 5 jersey in the league
yeah.
for an
I
expansion
mean,
team too.
Stars, I feel like are a polarizing one. People either love it or hate it. I like the color green they have. I like the
Yeah.
the simple logo. Um, we were already talking about obviously Edmonton.
I
You're
don't
on
like
you're
yeah,
Vegas.
flip
Yeah,
side of
I'm
that,
not.
no.
I'm not a
I
huge
think they
fan.
have the worst jersey left. Like just
Um,
because they're gold, I really don't like the gold, like the all gold home jersey, and then their away jersey just doesn't do anything for me. It's just like
no.
white with hints of gold and black, and it's just not it.
And then you got like teams like Toronto and Jersey remaining as well, which are just
Yeah.
classics.
Yeah.
Can't really do much with that. And then as we were talking about Carolina, and I love the crest look on Florida. I
Yeah.
will say though, I do miss the old Panther,
Yeah.
which I think they
The
should
Panther.
wear that more. But I'm
Mm.
not going to be too picky with that. But yeah,
Who's the best jersey remaining? Like home or away, one team.
Kraken
Kraken home or away? Or just
home.
in general?
I mean,
Home.
in general, their home and away combo is phenomenal.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm I'd go Kraken home, and I'm not
Yeah,
really sure. I might go Dallas away. Honestly, like the way that the green works with the white, I think we're getting
yeah,
into a big jersey talk here, but no,
we
that
are.
Kraken, those Kraken Stars Kraken home games are easy on the eyes.
Oh
Those are
yeah.
some two phenomenal jerseys. I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah,
Um,
but I mean, I would be more high on the Canes combo if they didn't have the white Canes
Mm.
jersey for the road.
Like, I like the way that jersey looks. It's just, yeah, the Canes. Like, do you think that jersey would look better if it was just their regular logo on the
Yeah.
crest? Yeah, I guess so.
Well, before we dive too far into, league fashion, I I think we're about ready
League
to wrap
fashion,
it
yeah.
here.
Yeah,
Um,
well, actually, we should cover the draft lottery first
oh
because
yeah,
that
you're
that
right.
happened. We'll do that. Get ready, Jets fans. You're going to see a lot of Connor Bedard in the
Yeah,
next 10, 15 years because the Chicago Blackhawks leapfrogged the Anaheim Ducks for the first overall pick. It was chalk the whole way through. I was watching the lottery. We got to the top three. Nothing had changed. It was the top three. Honestly, like the rewarding tanking thing, like, would you have wanted to see a team jump into the top three or jump into the number one spot that wasn't one of the top three teams? Or like, what
there
did
was
you think
one
of how
team,
the lottery played out? Yeah.
one team that I
Vancouver,
was hoping for, Detroit.
Detroit. Wow. Okay.
I want to see Detroit, get that. I saw a thing this morning where they have had the ability to jump into or like they've been in the top 3 or had the ability to jump in over
Hmm.
the last several years, and they've had the math that the person did was like essentially there was a 48% chance over the past however many years that they should have got the top
Mm,
pick, and they haven't.
right.
I was really hoping that if there's ever gonna be some massive, like, shakeup that Detroit would hop in, but yeah. Um,
I was hoping for Vancouver.
ah,
Like, I wanted to
not until
see.
that that ownership
Really?
group, I would worry about the
Oh,
mismanagement of Bedard.
yeah. But I wanted to see Vancouver be relevant again. And
Yeah.
Canadian team that wasn't Montreal. I didn't really want to see Montreal.
I
But
was kinda hoping just for Anaheim, like, just to have it
yeah,
keep the same. Wanted to see Bedard with Zegras and McTavish and Terry and Drysdale, and could
yeah,
have been fun. We were
could have
deprived
been.
of that because 'cause I'll be honest,
Yeah,
that Hawks team around, Bedard, still not good.
yeah, like they're not gonna make the playoffs next year unless they. Well, I don't know how much cap space they have. I haven't looked at their cap sheet, but their team is not good enough to make the playoffs as currently stands. They might have a ton of cap space,
I guess,
and
yeah,
they
because
might
they no
go.
longer have Kane or Taves after
Yeah,
next year.
right. So now they might get freed up in that sense a little bit, but it would still not be wise of them to go nuts in free agency just to try
Yeah.
and make the playoffs next year, right? Like they have decent prospects coming through and Nazar. Do they have Korchinski? That's who they traded
Yep.
for to Brinkett. Yeah.
Colton
Um,
Dock.
Doc. Yeah. They've got some prospects coming through that they just need to wait for. They'll
They
be
need
bad next
goaltending.
year.
Like, they got,
Yeah.
Arvid Soderblom.
Yeah. Yeah. They'll be bad, but again, they were bad enough for Bedard. Bad for
Yeah.
Bedard. There you go. They did it. They got rewarded for tanking, which sucks because if there's one franchise that didn't deserve to be
Yeah.
rewarded for that, it was Chicago. That's what I was saying leading up to the lottery. I just did not want to see Chicago win it for the
Yeah.
reasons that I think everyone knows why. Um, I would have liked to see Anaheim or Columbus, like a smaller market team. Why not? Let's grow the game a little bit. Not some original six team that had some pretty disgusting things happen in the last decade, but
Yeah.
it is what it is, right?
Like, that's the
It
thing, like,
sucks.
there's the off
Sucks.
the ice stuff, which in itself, they shouldn't have a first round pick in the first place.
Yeah.
Other teams have done less to and been punished more.
Yeah. You
Um,
were talking about the Coyotes
they
losing
did,
their
like, illegal off ice training in the off season before the draft, and they got their pick stripped.
last year. Was that last year?
I think it was, yeah,
2020, or it might have
a
been
year
2 years ago,
before.
2021. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Um, if you cover up horrible, assault, in the organization, you get to keep it. Apparently, I don't know. It's
And get
I
rewarded with a generational
yeah,
player who's going to
and
be amazing. Yeah.
on the ice too. Like, if you're looking at it here, that team has won 3 cups in the last decade, or
Yeah.
or just yeah, or just over a decade. Um, they have sucked for 2 years now.
Yeah.
There's other teams that have been on the downward swing for a lot longer and have not won anything in a long while, if at all.
Yeah.
So,
Anaheim.
like, Anaheim
Like,
hasn't won since 2007.
yeah. Like they're
Columbus has never won.
yeah.
So you're looking at teams that had the chance to turn their franchise around, and the team that only, I mean, in 2015, most recently had their last cup. You know,
Yeah.
you're it's just as a hockey standpoint, not the team you want to see get rewarded for tanking because they just truly did not seem interested in doing anything for, playing hockey in the last couple seasons.
Yeah. Yeah. It's unfortunate. I really wanted to see Columbus
Yeah,
because I don't know, seeing him play with Patrick Laine and having them fill the net from the perimeter because their
Line
shots are
and
so ridiculous.
Kent Johnston and Cole
Yeah.
Sillinger and Johnny Gaudreau.
Yeah. Werenski, Bachfist. You've got some prospects on the back end coming in. Like
Yeah,
I think that would have been the ideal spot for me. But again, if there is a bright spot to it, at least Connor Bedard will be coming to Winnipeg a lot in his career with the Chicago Blackhawks, right? So Jets fans are going to get a good look at him because
yeah,
the Hawks are going to be here like 3-4 times a year. So that's that's one way to look at it, right? And again, like the Ducks and the Blue Jackets lost the draft lottery, but Adam Fantilli is still a fantastic player,
yeah.
and the Ducks are going to be better off because they're getting Fantilli, right? Like he's great. He
There's a lot
adjusted
of
really
talent in that
well
top
for
five.
this. Yeah, and then if Columbus, like I don't know where Mitchkov is projected to go, if teams are willing to wait on him because he's got to stay in Russia for another 2 years after this one. So he's kind of like a wild card. But if Columbus is
Yeah,
willing to wait, they're getting like a top 2 talent at number 3, and like
yeah,
there's a lot to be desired here outside of the top pick. But these teams are still going to get a fantastic player. It's just they're not getting obviously
yeah,
the person we've been talking about for months here.
exactly.
So that's kind of the wrap on the NHL nowadays. Like covered the playoffs, covered the draft lottery,
Yeah,
the actual draft isn't until late June. Until then, it's just really playoffs. Some extensions are going to start to roll in soon. You already see some lower league players being signed. And there's not really much else to cover from our standpoint. So what we're
yeah.
thinking of doing is next week we want to hear questions from you guys because we need help with
Mailbag.
topics. We need help. So we're gonna do a mailbag. Keep an eye out on our socials for that. If you're listening to us on podcast, give us a review. If you're listening on YouTube, like and subscribe. We would really appreciate that. And thank you for listening to the Patrick Laine episode. We ended
The
off with some
Patrick
Columbus
Laine
talk.
episode. Yeah,
We ended up, yeah, there you go.
you bookended
Um,
it.
yeah, we did. Yeah, but from Brian and I and Elliot, who's not here, thanks for listening. And we'll see you next week on episode 30. That'll be
Episode
fun.
30.
Alrighty. See ya. Go Bombers.
Go Gold Eyes. You've been listening to the Level Flight Podcast on the Hockey Podcast Network.